This show is unique because not many people know this story, and the people who do, they only really know Marilyn Monroe's "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," and of course there's a lot more to the story than just that.
Paging Miss Dorothy Shaw. Paging Miss Dorothy Shaw.
Here I am. Quite a boat.
Quite big deal to France.
What is the float?
Right, big deal to France. All aboard and ship ahoy.
By the way, the liquor is the real McCoy. It's high time that we all got sticking. High time we were gay. It's high time that we did some drinking, but in a strictly American way.
My name is Natalie Bordley, and I'm playing Dorothy Shaw in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
My name is Joanna DePaola, and I am playing Lorelei Lee.
My name is Emily Bordley, and I'm the choreographer for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Outside of choreographing for Milburn Stone Theatre, I worked at Tender Care Learning Center, where I worked with kids as a teacher's aide. I also would substitute at Cecil Dance Center, where I taught ballet, contemporary, and jazz.
Outside of this production, I'm a full-time student here at Cecil College. I also teach dance at Cecil Dance Center. I teach musical theater, contemporary, lyrical, and tap. And I work at Tender Care Learning Center as a teacher's aide. So I do quite a bit outside of the theater world.
Dorothy, now that we're as good as past the 3-mile limit, I can tell you, Mr. Esmond and I are going to be married in Paris.
My inspiration for doing theater just started when I was really young. I used to come with my mom. My mom did theater, and I would just come with her to rehearsals, and I was here and I was around, and then I kind of, from a really young age, I'm like 6 or 7, I was painting sets, and you know, in the theater it's really cool because you'll have a grown-up just hand you a screwdriver and be like, hey, go take that apart, or like, here's a paintbrush, go paint that. And it's like, you feel like the sense of empowerment, like someone believes in you and they're trusting you to do this, and it's just such a community of people. So I just started like kind of volunteering and doing things, and then this was also like before the internet, so we would, you couldn't just email everybody about performances and things, so I would sit here in the lobby and mail. So we would get 20 people together, order pizza, and we would stuff envelopes and mail out notices and things like that about upcoming productions and all that, because there wasn't, the internet wasn't around like it is now. So I just was always around, and then I think it's funny because they're doing Annie coming up this November, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think it's November is Annie. But that was the show, the first time they did it here. I want to say it was back in the very early 90s, like 93 or 94. And that was the first show that I was here and around with my mom, and there were other little kids my age in it. And I was like, I want to do it. And then after that, I just started auditioning, and here I am. So.
My inspiration to start theater was probably because I danced all my life. So going through high school and dancing at Cecil Dance Center and taking musical theater classes, I would just like sing as a hobby. So when it got to like graduating high school and coming here for school, I was like, maybe I should audition for a show, and I did, and I was like, oh wow. So like this time last year I was in my first show here, which was Singing in the Rain, and I've been doing shows ever since.
I have been performing at a very young age. I think I started when I was like 3 years old. So my inspiration for performing and theater in general is just entertaining people. I really like to entertain the audience and kind of bring a story to life.
Working at Milburn Stone Theatre has been fun. I feel welcome here. I don't feel intimidated by anybody. It's a very calming, like, fun environment, I guess. So if anybody out there wants to do theater and they need a theater to come to Milburn.
It's great to work for Milburn Stone Theatre. Obviously, I've stuck around for a while, but It's great. Everyone is super nice. Everyone's really professional, but still has fun, you know, putting on the productions. Everyone is so great at what they do, and you know, someone that might be not strong here, someone else can handle that. And like I said before, like people just teach you. Like if you don't know how to do something, they'll be like, let me show you. And then I've learned so many life skills from this place, honestly. I was taking apart my deck back in the summer, and I was like, I know how to do this from striking sets. So.
Working with Milburn Stone Theatre has been such a pleasure. Every time I come here, it's just positive energy and just everything is very professional, and I would definitely work here again if I could.
I'll be in my room alone, every post-meridian.
And I'll be with my diary and that book by Mr. Gideon.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes has been the first musical that I've ever choreographed, so preparing for it has definitely been challenging. I never realized how much time and energy went into creating this performance, and I'm really happy with the outcome of what is going to be on stage for you guys to see.
If I had a palm that itches, I could go from rags to riches. But I love what I'm doing when I'm doing it for love. I love what I'm doing when I'm doing it for love. I know every bench in Central Park. If the lad who comes wooing wants to take me out canoeing, it's the greatest thing since no one's on.
Preparing for this show has been challenging because this show is not very popular, so we're not really going off of any references. So when it comes to thinking about character, you're kind of like on your own to make your choices, and there's a whole bunch of dances that you have to memorize and all the songs, of course. So it's been hard, but I've had a lot of fun doing it. I really like my character, so every time I get to do a run through and play Dorothy, I have a lot of fun. So I think everybody will have fun when they see it.
I had to do a lot of homework for this show. There's a lot of references throughout the script that I had no idea what it meant or what it was referring to, people and places and you know, athletes and performers and all these different things from kind of all over the place. It's actually up in the air as to exactly what decade we're in. We're trying to figure that out because there'll be a reference about, you know, a certain president in one song, but then it'll say, you know, 1942 in another song, but then something about the 20s in another song. So whoever wrote the script are kind of like trying to pinpoint exactly where we are in time, but there's so many references throughout the script, so that'll be fun if people can catch those. But I had to Google a lot, so I knew what I was talking about or singing about throughout the show. So that was kind of cool because I actually learned a lot. I got a little history lesson in trying to prepare for this show. People should come see it because it's different and it's unique to the area, and a lot of theaters don't produce it. Even a lot of people who are involved in theater, local community theater, have never heard of it or they've never seen it. They're not familiar with it. Or if they have seen the film, it's very different. I mean, even when I realized that MST was doing it, I watched the film, and then when I got the script, I was like, who are these characters? You know, this wasn't in the movie, so it is very different. It's really unique, and I think it'll be a fun experience for people who have, you know, seen everything but maybe haven't seen this. Sometimes it's nice to sit and watch something you've never seen before.
I think this show is pretty unique because I've never really seen a show that has a lot of singing, a lot of dancing, and a lot of acting. Like, I feel like it has everything, like prominent dancing, really great actors, and the singing is just phenomenal. So I think it really does have like a true combination of every skill and talent.
Everybody should come see this show because I think our cast is incredible. We have a strong dance corps and our singers are amazing, and I might be biased, but I think all of our leading roles are really good too. So everybody's put in a lot of work, and this isn't an easy show. So if you have time to come see it, you should see it.
To someone who has never seen the show before, I think it would really surprise you. You just see this pretty blonde girl on the billboard and think, oh, it's just going to be another musical about these two girls, you know, finding their way through the world. But I think it's going to really blow your expectations out of the water.
I'm just a little girl.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is about two Follies dancers, Lorelei Lee and Dorothy Shaw. Lorelai's the blonde who has guys falling all over her, and Dorothy's the one who chases after the guys and doesn't care if they have money and just wants to have fun with them. And then Lorelai's like, we gotta crack down, find guys with money so we can have a future. And regardless of their different opinions, they are best friends, and they find themselves in Paris. And to see what happens at the end, you have to come see the show.
The show differs from the movie in a lot of ways. There's some different characters. There are some similarities, but it's staged differently. I know in the film, like for example, Little Rock is kind of like a performance song that Lorelai and Dorothy sing together, where in the stage version, it's really Lorelai telling her story, like truly telling her story of why she is the way she is and how she got to where she is. There are some different characters like thrown in and around it. I don't know that Gloria's character is in the film, but I don't know. It's just different. It's not the same.
This show is unique because not many people know this story, and the people who do, they only really know Marilyn Monroe's Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. And of course, there's a lot more to the story than just that. So it's unique to see how different characters interact and how funny it actually is. Because when you think of like old musicals or old Hollywood, you don't really think of like comedies. So I think this falls into that, and it has dancing and everything, so it's just fun.
This story, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, means a lot to me. I feel like I can relate a lot to the female characters just because they are faced with challenges that they overcome throughout the show, and I think it's really remarkable how they're driven and determined to get to the end, and you just have to figure it out when you come see the show.
I relate to the story because I feel like people have misconceptions about Lorelai based on how she looks. And I think that people assume that she's not smart or that she kind of doesn't know what she's doing. But I feel that a lot of her actions are very intentional. Like, I think people write her off as just like a dumb, pretty blonde and oh, you know, whatever. But she even says in the play, she's like, I have my little plan. Like her cogwheels are always turning. You know, she always kind of knows, she's one step ahead of everybody else actually. So I kind of relate to that on some level because I feel like any person has been judged based on how they look, or people assume you're a certain way, and then later they'll be like, oh, you're not like I thought you were, or something. And so I get that.
If you were there, no hill would be too high, and darling, I would even fly the sea just to hear you say you care for me.
Well, Dorothy, you two children have anything?
It reminds me of like the old school musicals, like the older ones that are just classic, and there's big dance numbers, and the music is beautiful in this. Henry's got a couple songs that I'm just like, yeah, it's so pretty. So I really love the music. It's just like a fun time. It's a good period piece too. It's just like fun.
So choreographing this show has definitely been a challenge for me. Like I said, it's been my first musical to choreograph ever. So I think the main thing was just finding a way to really blend everybody together on stage. The show has a really wide range of ages, so I have like young dancers who are trained in dance, and then I have some mature actors on stage. So finding a way to really help them come together and make it seamless rather than choppy. There has definitely been some rough patches, but everybody in this cast is wonderful, so we really pulled through together, and it's a really great show.
Taking on a role made famous by Marilyn Monroe is a lot of pressure because she's Marilyn Monroe. She's so famous, and everybody knows who she is, and she had a very particular style of speaking and singing and carrying herself, and I think that's what made her so unique and what made people love her. Fun fact, the role was actually originated by Carol Channing. So when they did the film, Carol Channing, it was kind of a comedic role. Lorelai's kind of a funny character. But when they did the film, obviously Marilyn Monroe was a little sex pot, and she, amped up the sexiness for the role. So I kind of tried to, take into account both of their performances. And Megan Hilty recently did the role on Broadway a few years back. So just kind of seeing all the different ways that the character was interpreted, and then trying to make it my own too. But it is stressful trying to go after Marilyn. She's so pretty.
I think everybody should come see this show, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, because it has something for everyone. It has comedy, it has romance, it has some pretty sick dance moves, and some great actors. So if you want to come and be entertained for 2 hours, then come see Gentlemen.
If you've never seen Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, you're not alone, because many people haven't seen this movie/show. So I think it's definitely something that you would want to see. It has something for everybody. It's funny, it's cute, it can be crazy at times. We have like dancing mimes and tappers and crazy operatic singers. It's like everything. So if you have the time, come see Gentlemen Prefer Blondes the 1st and 2nd week of October.
And